CyberWell as an example. I mean, he's claiming that TikTok is already using CyberWell. I don't know if that is substantiated. I don't know if like the Israeli corporation CyberWell is being deployed by TikTok, but I do know that they hired. Anyway, developing. TikTok is reportedly escalating a sweeping crackdown on pro-Palestine creators, deleting videos, scrubbing comments, and burying posts about Gaza. In July, it hired Erica Mandel, a former IDF instructor who says her Zionism was shaped during Operation Protective Edge to run hate speech policy with the help from ADL lobbying. A couple weeks later, on September 13th, TikTok introduced an overhaul of its community guidelines, banning users from calling the IDF terrorists and rolling out automated moderation that retroactively wipes posts. Users report Free Palestine comments disappearing in real time and Israeli war crime videos taken down. Oracle, Silver Lake, and Andreessen Horowitz are set to buy 80% of TikTok's U.S. operation, a move likely to make the platform even more aggressive in censoring pro-Palestinian content. One of the insane things about this, and I don't know if it's my own personal anecdote, I don't know how other people are responding to this, but at least on my own personal For You page, I've seen an influx of right-wing commentary, including, but not limited to, ironically enough, a lot of Nick Fuentes takes, but specifically black and brown fans of Nick Fuentes who are talking shit about me, saying I suck and I'm a villain and he is actually the true hero, which has definitely done a number on my conscience a little bit. Like seeing someone be like, we ride at dawn for a dude who thinks you are literally an animal. It just blows my mind. He is straight up said miscegenation is like a white person engaging in bestiality. That is a new kind of brain damage. Careful, Biden. What do you mean? Anyway, it is what it is. But yeah, I have noticed some crazy shit happening. All right, here it is. Israeli corporation CyberWell is dictating content removal for anti-Semitism on X, Meta, and TikTok using the IHRA Zionist definition. I don't think a Zionist group should get to decide what is and isn't anti-Semitism. Listen to their rep describe what they do.
CyberWell is the first ever open database of online anti-Semitism, a nonprofit initiative based here in Israel that's really looking at the issue of online Jew hatred through the lens of compliance. Actually, we're a service, if you will, for the social media platforms, helping them enforce their social media policies against anti-Semitism at scale. So CyberWell now is taking, you mentioned over 10,000 examples that we've reported to social media platforms. Actually, the number is much higher at this point, around 11,500. And we believe those flags have been responsible for removing well over 300,000 pieces of content is what we estimate. CyberWell is fighting back by taking our high integrity data on what online anti-Semitism is and actually using LLMs and generative AI to really take the brain of our human analysts and identify anti-Semitism accurately online. And we believe that this type of work is not only what's going to be able to help social media platforms automatically flag and remove hate speech that violates their policies, including anti-Semitism, but is a crucial thing to do as we look at the rollout of AI, because all of these large language.
It's just so wild to me that like this kind of stuff pretty much never actually silences like neo-Nazis and like people who are genuinely anti-Semitic, and almost always is used against motherfuckers who like actually are just anti-Israel. How is that even possible? I'm beginning to think that they are basically billing this as like some kind of reasonable way to combat extremism and real bigotry. And it has never been used against that at all. It's just like all it does is basically suppress dissent, reasonable criticisms coming from groups that they've declared radicals, oftentimes leftist groups, leftist commentary. Okay. Conspiracy Time with Hasan, looking forward to your ban. I like that I am engaging in conspiracy. This is straight up what they are describing that they're doing, by the way. Okay. And not only is she like just straight up talking about how they're like tackling anti-Israel sentiment, But also, you are you are engaging in a conspiracy theory that, like, I'm gonna get banned in your mind. You are frantically imagining a world where I get banned as well. It's weird because Fuentes is anti-Israel too. So is this just a blow the Trump admin? That's the thing I will never understand. It does kind of feel like he's not as anti-Israel recently since the Charlie Kirk, but it's kind of making me feel like he's trying to pivot to a more appropriate vector, a more appropriate place, because he's trying to become like the next Charlie Kirk. It feels like, taking over the position that Charlie Kirk had. Ironically, one of Charlie Kirk's biggest fears being realized in the aftermath of his untimely demise. But what's interesting is, I just never would have thought that a guy who does the classic, like, Jews are responsible for everything would not salivate at the prospect of blaming Charlie Kirk's assassination on the Jews. Okay? That has been truly shocking. And I think it's because he is, trying to moderate his commentary so he can become like a regime guy. Like, how are you going to say Jews did 9/11, Jews did this, Jews did that, and then not say at a time when, like, so many right-wingers are saying Israel Charlie Kirk, you just don't lean in? Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Has he made himself scared of Jews for real? No. I don't think that's the case. But yeah, his internet footprint is already so fucked up for good reason, because he is an insane anti-Semite. I bet the anti-Semitism database has some Jewish Voice for Peace Twitter accounts. Oh, for sure. How do you know that TikTok Ellison will use CyberWell? No, I think this person is using CyberWell as an example. He's claiming that TikTok is already using CyberWell. I don't know if that is substantiated. I don't know if, like, the Israeli corporation CyberWell is being deployed by TikTok, but I do know that they hired what's her face? CyberWell, an Israeli intel-linked org, is now working as a trusted partner with all major social media platforms. I guess they're saying that. But this is the person that TikTok personally hired. Anyway, TikTok hired a Zionist censorship czar, Erica Mandel. Mandel's a former IDF instructor and is now employed to run TikTok's hate speech enforcement. The head of the ADL previously said Israel is a TikTok problem. Now a devout Zionist can censor the platform. Here's what she's saying about her own support for Israel. This is from an older video titled Faces of American Jewry. Let's take a look.
After my sophomore year, like many of my friends, I had a summer internship, a Goldman Fellowship at AJC. I came to work each morning as Israel engaged in one of the larger military operations of my lifetime, Tzuk Eitan.
Why would right-wingers be the ones saying it's Israel and most of them support Israel? Young right-wingers don't. And I think that there are numbers to suggest that, first of all, make no mistake, a lot of right-wingers who support Israel also hate Jews, okay? Unless you have ever encountered one of these people, you will never understand it. You're like, what do you mean? Because in our minds, like, support of Israel is connected. It's a lie, but it's connected to this support for Judaism, even though Israel and Judaism are not linked with one another at all. Jews have been around and Judaism has been around for far longer than Israel has existed, right? Israel's been around for what, 100 years? Ridiculous. Not 100 years, 80 years, but, Zionism has been around for like 100 years. So for many people, because this connection exists, they get shocked when you hear about, like, the average evangelical Zionist opinion, which is very anti-Semitic, but also insanely pro-Israel. Christian evangelical Zionism is one of the most unique, one of the most schizophrenic positions that you can arrive at, because it unironically believes that one must send all the Jews to the desert, to Israel, because they are the chosen sons and daughters of God, so that Jesus Christ can come back to earth and trigger the rapture, as Jesus Christ battles the devil's forces in Megiddo. Okay? This is something that millions, tens of millions, if not 100 million Americans believe. Okay? Maybe not 100 million Americans in general, but like enough Americans believe it that it's like a truly psychotic thing that you would be like, what the fuck are you saying? It's not 100 million. I'm exaggerating. There are Christian Zionists outside of America as well. You have to remember. There are evangelical Christian Zionists that are far 100 million. No, the number is actually around the globe. The number is probably larger than 100 million, chatters. What the fuck are you talking about? Hello? Many of you literally are only stuck in the United States of America. Come on, man. You just made that shit up. Dog, explain to me why a fucking International Court of Justice judge literally openly stated that she was put on a mission from God to defend Israel. There are definitely more than 100 million people, 100 million evangelical Christian Zionists around the world. 100%. It's just in the United States of America, it probably isn't 100 million. I said tens of millions, which is true. Not 100 million, which is not true. It's crazy because, like, this shit has... Do they also believe in aliens? I don't fucking know. But, I mean, this is basically like believing in an anime and thinking it will be real. What's different than that? And Bigfoot. I mean, guys, here, let me give you a little taste. For those of you who are for those of you who have not encountered this perspective, okay? I said evangelical Zionism is truly a mental illness. Here is U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. Let's hear what he had to say, okay, at the opening ceremony of the Pilgrimage Road. Marco Rubio was also in attendance. This is in Israel, okay? Let's hear what this brilliant mind had to say. This is a very prominent example of an evangelical Christian Zionist.
What an honor to be here for this incredible ceremony. Mr. Prime Minister, Secretary Rubio, all of the wonderful people who made this possible by their generosity, contributing to something that is historic and something that is a living memorial of what God has done. It was 4,000 years ago here in this city on Mount Moriah where God chose his people. He not only chose a people, but he chose a place. And then he chose for the people in this place a purpose. The people were the Jewish people. The place was Israel. And the purpose was to be a light to the world and to show that we don't have to look for God because he is looking for us.
It's also kind of funny because, like, it's just like, it is philosemitic, yes, of course, but you're just like auto-cucked. Felix says that as a Jew, he should be able to tell these guys, like, what to do, to be his, like, servant. You know what I mean? Like, it's just... You're so, like, I don't understand this mentality. Like, I just genuinely don't get it. Like, how the fuck do you decide automatically that, like, another group of people are just, like, chosen? It's wrong to think your group of people are chosen already, right? Like, that's already fucking freak shit. But, like, you literally are saying another group of people are chosen. I'm over here trying to combat the superiority complex that people have about, like, Christian nationalism and, like, other white supremacist formations. And this motherfucker has moved beyond it, where he's like, I'm not even the master here. Okay? There is someone above me. Between me and God, there is, like, a different group of people. It's the Jews. It's crazy. It's a crazy thing to believe. I don't get it. Bro, I'm sorry. It's such a unique American take. It is, but it also isn't. The reason why I say that is because there are 78 million evangelical Christians in the United States of America. Not all of them fully subscribe to, you know, the theological justification for the rapture being that, the chosen sons and daughters of God go into Israel. But many of them do. But that's all but a fraction, because evangelical Protestant form of Christianity is super, super invested in constantly bricking people's brains all around the world. So the total number of people that are evangelical Protestant Christians, many of which are ultra-Zionists, is in the hundreds of millions around the world. I mean, in places like Africa, for example, there are countries. If you look at like Nigeria is a good example of this too. There is Nigeria is the most pro-Israel country. Is one of the most pro-Israel countries on the planet, and has a fuck ton of evangelical Christians. Brazil is another one too. Like there are a lot of people who believe this shit, a lot more than you would think, because of evangelical missionaries, of course. It is legitimate Christian lore for all Jews to be good, and in Israel for Jesus to come down and rapture the world. Yeah. I come from Messianic Judaism as a non-Jew. Let me tell you, this shit gets fucking insane really quickly. So there are a fuck ton of these people out there. And the reason why I'm bringing these people up is because they're so nutty that like you genuinely can't convince them, right? Like there is no, like, how do you convince a guy who just straight up dead ass will be like, these are the God's chosen people. Like they have to have Israel. Like that's like, you got to do like cult deprogramming at that point.
And that is what so separates the long history of why this city is so important. Those of us who are not Jewish, we thank you for giving all of us a foundation of morality and decency and civilization upon which our own faith is built, for without yours, we don't have one. As I often tell my Jewish friends, you can be Jewish, you don't need me. But I cannot be who I am in my faith without the debt of obligation that I owe to you.
Crazy dick eating? Yeah, no. Like this is what I mean. I feel like an anti-Zionist Jew bricks this guy, right? Like he just straight up is like, I am a slave to you, my master. You could probably brick a guy like this by being like, I'm Jewish, I'm practicing. And like, if he saw like a Neterai Karta guy, what does he do in that situation? Like, this is a real conflict for him, right? Because like Neterai Karta guys are, they're very Jewish. Like they're Orthodox, they're Hasidic, they're wearing the garb, you know what I mean? And they're super anti-Israel. How does that work? Yeah, they get the fur hat when you level up. Means you've had sex. For those of you who didn't know, I'm locked in. I know my lore. It's a baller hat. That and the tefillin is cool. I love the hat. I love the fur hat, and I love the tefillin, because the tefillin is like, one, it always reminds me, I'm Muslim, but it always reminds me of like a tiny Kaaba. Okay, so in my head canon, it feels like they're just wearing a Kaaba on their head, and the other is like, it's cool because it looks like 300. You're like you wear the leather straps on your arms and you look cool, and then you put a tiny Kaaba on your head. Shut the fuck up, Gentile. I don't give a shit. Have you guys? I'm sure you've seen a tefillin before, chatters. This is it. This is why I'm saying it's like I think it has like pieces of paper in it, right? Like Jewish scripture in it, right? Like Jewish writings in the tefillin, in the little Kaaba thing. Piece of the Torah, yeah, bro. At least close the door on the way out of Jewish people's business. True. And this is the hat that you get when you level up. It's fire. Like if it wasn't on some inappropriate shit, like I would probably get one. You know what I mean? But I feel like it's kind of messed up. I think it's way sicker. Like, so what happens with this guy in the back, by the way? Because I see the Reddit libertarian hat a lot too. Does that have a significance, chatters? Or does that mean he's just not fucking? He prestiged. I think one of the craziest things that bricks people is that Judaism is such a fucking old religion that this actually is a modern iteration of Judaism. This is something that really bricks people. They don't understand that Orthodox Judaism specifically like Hasidic Judaism, is unironically a relatively modern phenomena. Did you know that? Isn't that crazy? Because you would assume that this is like the oldest practice, right? Nope, it's not. It's actually a newer version. And what's interesting about it is that because it was a newer evolution of Judaism that was, I think, it originally started in, I think, Ukraine or somewhere in Eastern Europe. That's the reason why half the gear that they're wearing is not fit for warm weather at all. Yeah, 18th century Ukraine. That's the reason why they got like fur and all this stuff. You know what I mean? It's because you're like, when you see it in Los Angeles, you're like, wait, how are you? Like, that's gotta be so hot for you, my man. And it's because it was invented in Eastern Europe. Yes, there are like so many sects within Orthodoxy. Each of them have slightest variation in the fit, lol. And the hats are for one tradition, and the fur hats are for Hasidim when they level up. How do you combat anti-Semitism when people bring up the radical side of the Talmud? I don't know. Everyone fucking says they're one religion. It's like thinking that Christians believe that if you make fun of a bald people, 30 bears will maul you. No one fucking believes that. And Talmud, especially, is not even like the Torah. Judaism is the most like debate bro religion of all time. Okay. Unlike all religions that are subject to interpretation, Judaism is extra subject to interpretation. And from what I understand, Talmud is supposed to be literally dudes arguing for a fucking century. And it's just like whenever people try to bring up like some misunderstanding of like a surah in the Quran, and then say, this is what all Muslims believe. They want to call the infidel, like that type of shit. It's the same as like fucking bringing up the Talmud and be like, this is what all Jews believe. There are fundamentalist elements in every fucking religion, okay? There are fundamentalist elements in every religion. You got Salafist, jihadist dudes. You have different sects in Islam as well, on the Shia side and on the Sunni side. And the same goes for interpretation of the Torah. There's fundamentalist Buddhists. Like there is literally so many different variants. And ultimately, no one like the that shit. Zionism, in my opinion, is actually one of the easiest ways to talk about like a complete bastardization of an entire religion, a complete bastardized conflation with an entire religion. Zionism has become a civic nationalist religious thing for a lot of Jews that are otherwise secular and don't necessarily give a fuck beyond like having a sense of community. But the singular fixture that binds a lot of Jews in this regard is the nation state of Israel. It has nothing to actually do with the religion in and of itself. The religion's been around for thousands of years. Zionism has been around for 100. Okay? So when people start bringing up the Talmud as though like Jews abide by these principles and that they're monolithic in general, it's fucking idiotic. Of course they don't. Now, does this mean that there aren't like straight up Jewish supremacist neo-Nazis? And I don't even mean like Zionists. I mean like Jewish Power Party, right? And the Itamar Ben-Gvirs or the Kahanists, for example, which have definitely increased in their numbers. You have a lot of people who are liberal Zionists who basically have become ultra-Zionists in the same vein. Yes, but that is, once again, a specific subsect of the broader religion and its practitioners. It's ridiculous to say all Jews believe this. Zionism, however, is a ethno-religious supremacist ideology. So the more people subscribe to Zionism and believe in Zionism, whether they personally recognize it or not, the more they actually subscribe to the exterminationist policies and the more they subscribe to the supremacist aspects of Zionism as well. This doesn't mean that like every single person is doing the same thing that some of these fucking Kahanist losers are doing, where they say like the goy is cattle or whatever the fuck. Obviously, you know, like your liberals, like Brad Lander is a liberal Zionist. He doesn't believe that the goy are cattle. Okay, like it's just kind of funny to think. But that's what Nazis try to claim. Nazis try to claim that that all Jews are like this, and that the Jews are monolithic, and they all are up to tricks or whatever the fuck. Okay? Check my last message. I know a rabbi who said they wouldn't officiate an interfaith wedding if the Jewish person isn't a Zionism believer. Like, they'll officiate an interfaith wedding, but the litmus test for them is if you support Zionism or not. A fucking 78-year-old political project is a requirement for a 6,000-year-old religion is crazy work. Exactly. It is a totally modern iteration built on top of the collective trauma of the Holocaust and thousands of years of pogroms and shit that for a lot of people went from never again means never again for anybody to never again means never again just for Jews. It's a complete bastardization of the religion. Jeffrey fucking Epstein. No! How the fuck? You are so fucking stupid. I'm stupid. Ah! Dumbass. Release the files. No, he looks so healthy. You look like a Fallout ghoul, man. Busted, bro. What the fuck's wrong with you? Yeah, here are the Netzerite Carta guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mike Huckabee would get bricked if he saw one singular Netzerite Carta guy. Their basis for also opposing Israel and Zionism, or at least the starting point of their anti-Zionist beliefs, also come from religious text. They are usually also obviously in opposition to the wanton murder, certainly, but like their understanding is that Judaism, like Jews, are not supposed to have a nation state until the Messiah comes back, and that all of the, I don't know what the Jewish version of heretical would be, but their assessment is that like all the Zionist Jews that are trying to accelerate the nation state project without the Messiah coming back are actually heretical. Like they're non-believers. Yeah, the hats are expensive. They're costly. Each hat costs around $6,000. I've seen people pinkwash their anti-Zionism. That's so funny. Yeah, I mean, they're not woke by any means on any other issue. Not all Orthodox Jews are obviously anti-Israel. There are some Orthodox Jews that are super pro-Israel and some Orthodox Jews that are super anti-Israel. The percentage of Orthodox Jews that are anti-Israel is, of course, much, much smaller than the percentage of Jews that are Orthodox that are pro-Israel, for the record. So remember that. But yeah. I mean, that in and of itself also immediately disproves the notion that like Jews are a monolithic force in their understanding. But it's also extra funny to put that on Jews of all people, because it kind of feels like you've just never met a Jewish person or befriended a Jewish person, or at least multiple Jewish people in general, because not exactly a group of people that hate arguing and find themselves united on issues. Okay? I mean, as we talked about, literally the Talmud is about debate. The people that say this is what it says in the Talmud, like obviously Jews all believe this, have just never met a Jewish person ever in their lives, just in general. Because if you were to talk to a Jewish person about like whatever is in the Talmud, they'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? What? I don't have any idea. But the Talmud itself is also a debate.
For having listened to God and been willing to be obedient to Him when He called you to this place as His people for His eternal, everlasting purpose. And I salute you and join you tonight in the celebration of this magnificent, incredible reminder that God never has been finished with Israel, and He never will be. This is the eternal home that He has chosen. God bless you all.
Standing ovation for that. Oh my God. Oh, here's Mark Levin at the Christians United for Israel conference. Here it is. Let's hear what he had to say to all the Christians that are there to celebrate and show unlimited loyalty to Israel. Yeah. Also, the funniest aspect of I mean, let me tell you something. Okay. First of all, no Jewish person believes in the fucking rapture. Okay, that's number one. Because if they did, they would recognize that it is an inherently anti-Semitic concept anyway, because, as this chatter correctly points out, 144,000 Jews will actually also see heaven during the rapture, because that's the slated number of Jews that will convert to Christianity on the spot. All the other Jews get to burn in eternal damnation, just with the rest of us, okay? With the Catholics, with the fucking Muslims, with the Buddhists. We all go to hell, and it's the most diabetic, angry motherfuckers you've ever encountered. They all get sucked up into the heavens with 144,000 Jews that convert on the spot. So obviously, no one fucking believes that, okay? Except for the evangelical Christian Zionists. But it is funny that that's enough for, I mean, that inherently anti-Semitic end point is of course allowing people to continue defending Zionism and have an incredibly valuable ally in the United States of America for Zionism. So they just go along with it.
This is civilization, as the ambassador said, versus the barbarians. We're fighting the 7th century, and we just beat the crap out of them.
Tua Tagovailoa and Mike McDaniel were saying disgusting things about Charlie Kirk. Can you use your platform to signal boost and get them fired from the Miami Dolphins? Brother, isn't Tua already gonna like fire himself if he just refuses to take the proper medical care of his brain anyway? Just wait out a season. I don't even watch football, and even I know that.
This is a righteous war we're fighting. And let me say this is God's war that we're fighting right now. And if Europe is too stupid to understand, that's their problem. I will remind you, that's where Hitler was born. This is good versus...
Oh, God, I love... Man, these guys are so fucking crazy. It's so funny. Let me remind you of a little guy by the name of Adolf Hitler. This just hit the October 7 notes. Blood libel, Adolf Hitler, Holocaust. That's it. It's done. Okay. No politic here. Getting back to the new Zionist censorship czar, Erica Mandel, former IDF instructor who is now working at TikTok to combat extremism, anti-Zionism, for example. Let's take a look.
Like many of my friends, I had a summer internship, a Goldman Fellowship at AJC. I came to work each morning as Israel engaged in one of the larger military operations of my lifetime, Tzuk Eitan, Operation Protective Edge. That summer, I realized how impactful my Jewish upbringing and education was. I simultaneously realized how passionate my own Zionist identity had become. I knew the well-being of Jews worldwide and the security of Israel would be issues of lifelong importance to me. I grew up in a traditional Jewish household, but in an untraditional decision, after graduating from Michigan, I made Aliyah and enlisted in the Israel Defense Forces. I spent the next 2 years serving as a Madrichat Shirion, an instructor in the Armored Corps. To many, this might seem like a contradiction. For a woman who identifies as liberal and...
It just blows my mind. Like, it's not even a contradiction. It makes total sense. But it still blows my mind that, like, you live in America and you're like, damn, I saw them fucking smoking Muslims. I saw the apartheid. I saw a creeping genocide. And I was like, that's my shit. I have to go live in the fucking desert. Okay? That is crazy to me. That's a crazy thing to do. The fuck is wrong with you, man? Fuck's wrong with you? I don't understand it. I will never understand it. I genuinely will never be able to fucking understand it, okay? How haven't you been deplatformed yet, you hypocrite piece of shit? You are a scumbag. Do you love Israel? Is Jewry not a slur? No. Of course, it depends on who's using it. It's not a slur at all. It's just it's like saying Jew, okay? It depends on the seasoning you put on it. Nazis also in... Nazis, when they talked about Jewish people, would use in the translated works would use international Jewry. So no, it is very offensive. No, I mean, this is what are you talking about? This person that wrote Faces of American Jewry, this is from a literal Jewish group. What are you talking about? They didn't fucking write it as with a negative connotation, you're wrong. Yeah, it's like saying, Christendom, or saying ummah. The word for Muslims is ummah, okay? The word for Jews is Jewry. It just means like Jewish people all around the world, like the international Jewry or the American Jewry. Let me finish this.
Progressive to be a Zionist so committed as to join the IDF. For me, these two identities go hand in hand.
My guest is here, ladies and gentlemen.